Ladies and gentlemen, workism. What the heck is workism, man? Have you ever heard of this thing? Workism is making Americans miserable. Oh, yeah? Huh. We'll see about that. Well, first of all, I love Derek Thompson, but I'm just going to let you guys know, man, warning up front, and I'm going to tear his essay apart. I am. Because that's what I do. I enjoy tearing things apart. Yeah, yeah. All right. So, Derek Thompson. I love this dude, and I'm gonna tear his essay up, but as a good sport, not to be a hater dude or to just because it's fun. And I love Derek Thompson, so I'm doing this with a good heart. And first of all, before I tear up his essay apart, I want to let you know. I mean, I agree with a lot of what he says here. It's not even about disagreement. And as you'll see, you can agree with an essay and still tear it apart. I don't know if we'll be able to do this in one video. This could take a while because when I start tearing things apart, it takes a while, man. Once I get going, wow, get back, everybody. So, workism, it's a cult. And, I agree with 99% of everything he says in this essay. There is a cult where people are really lacking any kind of spirituality, any kind of religion. So they have an emptiness inside of them and they fill their emptiness by just becoming workaholics. And he calls this workism. You're looking for meaning in your job, you're looking for identity in your job. And this is called workism. Oh, I totally agree with him. There's a lot of successful people who throw themselves into their work as if it were their religion. I totally get it. And I totally agree with them. Your job is a false god. Your job isn't going to make you complete. Just like having the ultimate body in the gym, working out in the gym, ultimate body, ultimate intellectual. Read all these books, you work on your body, you get an amazing job. None of this stuff is going to make you complete. You could buy a $20,000 Rolex. That's not going to make you complete. So I agree with what he's saying here that workism is a false religion. And I also love, this is my own cliche, and some cliches I love. Workism is sort of like lipstick on the pig of greed and materialism. You want to like massage your greed and materialism over by pretending you're engaged in some noble spiritual enterprise. There's a television show that makes fun of this. It's called Silicon Valley on HBO. You got these pretentious tech dudes elevating themselves with all this talk about how they want to help society, when in reality, they're greedy pigs. Yes, sir. So, one of the contradictions that I really like about Derek Thompson's essay, remember, I'm going to tear it up later, but I'm going to tell you what I like about it now. The point of being rich is to work less, but the contradiction is rich people, they work more. It's like they're greedy pigs, they want more. And here are some of the causes of this greedy pig behavior. And I agree with everything Thompson's writing here. The rich and successful work more because they don't know what else to do. They're running away from the misery of not working because that's all they know. They are so insecure. They must rely on their work identity to validate themselves. Their work is their religion. Their work ethic states that if they slow down for even the slightest bit, their competition will have an advantage. Their crazy worldview tells them that being overworked is a sign of happiness and success, even though the empirical evidence shows the opposite. You think these successful people are happy? They're rich, but they're neurotic. I'm sure they're empty inside. Oh, that's great consolation, right, McMahon? As they fly around in their private jets, well, they used to. We're all on lockdown right now as I speak. We're in a pandemic situation. Being at work is where they feel they can be engaged, creative, and their true self. Okay, I identify with that part. I totally identify with that part. And everything I just told you there could be body paragraphs for an essay about the causes of workism. And I don't have a problem with anything he said there. Now, he also goes into the second half of his essay, writing about the self destructive effects of workism. And again, I have no disagreement with him. I don't even want to tear the essay apart on regards to the self destructive effects. He writes about, especially, he gives these self destructive effects in the context of millennials. And he says one destructive effect is if you think you're going to find meaning in your job, you're going to be disappointed. Only 2% of people find a job that is their calling, that is their meaning. Only 2%. The other 98% of us, we need a paycheck, man. And if you think you're going to find meaning, you're going to be empty. Okay, I buy that, Thompson. Totally buy it. What else is self destructive about it? It appears that the dream job leads to burnout. People are, yeah, that's true. I know a lot of engineers here in the South Bay. They work at the big aerospace places. They're all burned out. They're soulless, burned out, depressed. That's right. I totally get it. Totally agree with Thompson about the burnout, the false expectations, and the way we've been manipulated into this workism cult. And is there a cure for it? He says maybe if we have UBI, universal basic income, more parental leave, child care, maybe that will get us out. But he doesn't spend a lot of time on that. That's just in his conclusion. And then I couldn't help but read this essay in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. Uh, because we're all shut down now, and this is really causing us to rethink our work. Uh, it's hard to believe when this pandemic is over that things will return to normal. I don't. I mean, I'm in education, man. I have a feeling a lot of classes are going to stay online, uh, and I think a lot of people are going to work from their homes more. We're going to find out we have the technology to do it. Why are you going to waste gas money driving around? Who wants to drive to work if you don't have to? I think that could be a permanent situation. So let's do an analysis of Thompson's essay in terms of writing a thesis. Again, I mean, there's really nothing in here to challenge, but I am going to tear it up, and I'll explain to you why. If you're writing an argumentative essay, you could probably agree with Thompson in two ways. You could agree with him about the causes of workism, that successful people don't know what else to do. And I have them all written down here. This is just a recap. They're running away from their misery. They're insecure. Their work has become a substitute for religion. They're afraid of losing to their competition, so they become workaholics. They're happier at work. I agree with all those points. The problem is, if you agree with that, then your agreement essay is kind of just a summary, and that's boring. That's really boring. And you could even agree with him on the self destructive effects of workism: burnout, college debt, unrealistic expectations, constantly feeling inadequate as you compare your life to the curated lives on social media. You're always going to feel like a little cockroach being crushed by the big people on social media. I don't care how successful you get. And this is what I call the agreement trap when you write an essay. When you agree too much with an author, you end up just summarizing the essay, and that's boring. It's not a good intellectual exercise. So, what I want to do is I want to look at some weaknesses, let's tear things apart. Check this out, man. I'm going to tear his essay apart. Look at this. This is my thesis, and I broke it down just so you could see it. So typically it would all be in one paragraph, but I just broke it apart so you could see how I pick apart his essay. Here you go. While Derek Thompson makes many compelling points about the state of workism in America, his essay, in many ways, in many regards, is a failure. For one, workism, it's just a refitted term for the perfectionist, a personality archetype that is not new to our current age, but has existed throughout time. We've always had perfectionists who get neurotically lost in their work. There's nothing new here, Mr. Thompson. Love you, but you're really not writing about anything new. Number two, the perfectionist commonly becomes self destructive in his or her accomplishment dysmorphia. That's the condition in which there is never enough of anything because One is in a losing battle against an inferiority complex. Hey, you know what, Mr. Thompson? People have had inferiority complexes throughout time. This is not a new situation. I was a bodybuilder when I was a teenager. I was never buffed enough. I play the piano. I can never be a good piano player enough. I want to be better, 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 better. If I write something funny on social media, it's never funny enough. I don't get enough likes or comments. I'm a greedy pig because that's how accomplishment dysmorphia plays out. It has nothing to do with workism per se. Number three, I want to tear apart this. You know what, man? The upper elite 1% who have lots of money and are trapped on the ambition treadmill, they're neither exceptional nor sympathetic. It is self centered for someone of privilege like Derek Thompson, a successful writer and journalist, to invest time and energy fretting, worrying, I like the word fretting about the collective neuroses of successful people. Who cares that successful people are insecure and constantly looking over their shoulder for being taken over by someone else? That's a cliche, man. We've always had that. There's nothing new in this essay, man. You're trying to present us this essay as if you got some fresh material, man. This is old. This is stale, man. This is an old, stinky, stale dish rag that I just found at the bottom of the sink. And I love you, Mr. Thompson, but I'm going to tell you the truth. All right, number four. Through Derek Thompson's own confession, he is a victim of workism. So, he's just projecting his own neurosis and trying to make it universal, when in fact, most of us, we're not members of the cult of workism. Most of us, in fact, are just trying to pay our bills. This is not some big universal thing. It's just you. You're writing about yourself, Mr. Thompson. My conclusion. In the end, Thompson's essay is a failure. It is self serving. It focuses on a thin slice, just a thin slice of rich America, who hardly deserve our sympathy and psychoanalysis. And his refitting of the perfectionist archetype into some new workism cult is more of a gimmick than a piece of legitimate cultural criticism. Sorry, Thompson, write something that addresses the real concerns of me and my students. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, from a writer standpoint, I would be much more entertained, more engaged, more compelled to write an essay where I disagree. There's something about disagreeing with an essay that brings out your critical thinking chops, that sharpens your teeth. When you agree, it's boring. It's a love fest. It's a kumbaya situation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're done here. We got to get out of this joint, man. Workism, huh? Hey, man, if you're a perfectionist like me, this is nothing new. You're just a perfectionist. All right, I'm out of here. Until next time, I'm out.